Welcome back to another episode of Marvel News Desk, your best place to keep up with all the latest news, reviews, and speculation concerning Marvel films and TV shows. Our panel today is our usual crew. We've got Adam.
What's up, guys? I'm on Twitter at Adam Barnhart. Make sure to follow me, especially this weekend, while I scroll through and hop in all of the Iron Fist hater mentions, trying to prove that how good the show is. So if you don't want to read all that stuff, probably don't follow me.
And we've got Rhiannon.
Hey guys, you can find me on Twitter as Brooklyn Wallace at A Shot of Patron, and I realize our podcast drops on Sunday, so you'll have already missed all of any Iron Fist hot takes if they remember to post it. I'm just doubting the Netflix remembers that there's a show coming out this weekend.
Yeah, I think Adam's going to be Sunday afternoon. He'll still be going strong, fighting the Netflix hater or the Iron Fist haters. So.
Oh, for sure. Sunday? Maybe Sunday from next year I'll finally calm down.
Adam's going to be knee-deep in Misty Knight fans trying to kill him by the end of this weekend.
I hope they hop in my DMs this weekend. I hope. Try me. Try me. I'm telling you, try me. Because I have thoughts. I have bunches of thoughts. And if they come at me... I'm just saying, I got some thoughts.
I'm Caleb. I'm on Twitter at Caleb A. Borchers. And we want to encourage you guys to subscribe to us on YouTube, where Adam's incredible Iron Fist review already has 1,000 clicks, like 2 days in.
Ooh, does it really?
Yeah, I saw 1K earlier. But yeah, subscribe to us to never miss anything like that. That's watch.marvelnewsdesk.com. Also, you can check out the second podcast in our Marvel News Desk family. That's called AP Marvel. And I really liked this week's topic. They're talking about powers, and I forget. There's a video game term called leveling. It's not leveling up, but the whole podcast is about how in video games they make characters more and more powerful to make them more and more interesting, and you reach a point to where it's not even fun anymore because there's no limitations. And they ask about in the MCU, is that ever a problem? And that's kind of the case with Thanos, I think. Thanos has leveled up to such a power level that the villains after him are going to be necessarily less powerful than he is. So I think that should be an interesting conversation. All right, let's jump into our news. The big news this week, obviously, is Captain Marvel. Entertainment Weekly has been dropping all kinds of Captain Marvel stuff this week for us. We'll try to hit a couple of things. Let's start out, first of all, just what do you guys think about the look? We've finally seen the red, blue, and yellow Captain Marvel suit on Brie Larson. Does it look the way you think it should look? And does it look good to you?
The still they released looked a lot better than the magazine cover. The magazine cover almost... and nothing to the artist who did this or whatever it was, but it almost like a fan edit of some sorts. It didn't look like a picture, really. I'm not sure. The cover looked off, but the still they released shortly thereafter looked much, much better. And that was our first look at her actual costume instead of the teal and navy Kree stuff.
Because, I feel like I've seen that costume before, so has the cover been out a while?
You've seen, Boss Logic or something like that, but that is the first...
Okay, well, then,
Right.
Then they did a really good job of fitting exactly what I had in my mental picture, because I felt like I had already seen these pictures before. Of Captain Marvel.
I think it looks great. I'm excited about. It looks like something that a person who is going to be jumping around and doing action would actually be in. Even though the MCU is not as bad as some comic properties, we've talked about Black Widow high heels, or even Melinda May is always wearing boots that are just not very designed for running. And Marvel has not been totally innocent of low scooped shirts on every woman character they have, or things like that. This outfit just is not trying to sexualize her, I feel like. And I don't want to say anyway, it's not like she's wearing a paper sack, but it's just, it looks like what someone who is fighting intergalactic wars would wear, instead of something that'll make fanboys drool. And I think we expected that, but never doubt Hollywood's ability to do something gross. And so I feel like this has been looked really good.
Yeah, I feel like Serena might borrow it for her next tennis match.
Yeah.
It took y'all a second to get
I'm
that
not
reference.
Quite as big into tennis as other sports, but I do know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Caleb's sports chart's way out of whack. It's rugby,
probably
football, then American football.
Well, there's like a big, the U.S. Open's in New York right now, and there's a big Serena, billboard on my commute that I see every day. But for those that don't know, she was, banned from wearing an outfit because it was just, a cat suit. And, looking at this outfit now with what, the sportability of it, it's not that different.
Adam, my sports list is all based... I just like contact sports. So it's rugby, American football, and hockey are the three that I really like. So
the most brain damage, the better.
Oh, truly.
The more brain damage, the better.
Truly, the more padding,
if you guys
the less
want
you like it.
Truly, this to go off the rails, get me started with why helmets create injuries. The best thing the NFL could do is take the helmets off them.
Give me a break.
Rugby players are far more responsible with their bodies because they know they'll get their bell rung if they hit a guy the wrong way. So
next thing you're going to tell me is that the Earth is flat.
That's a different show. So speaking of planets, apparently Carol is going to be half Kree. Sort of, we got this idea that the movie's going to start on Hala and is going to have her as a half human, half Kree. She's already got the DNA. She's already got the powers. We're not even going to really see her get powers because she's maybe born with them, maybe. This is a significant change to her origin story. Does this sound exciting to you guys to kind of start right in the middle of things? Why do you think Marvel made that decision to kind of change up her origin?
That is a very good question. And EW flat out said that it's not going to be an origin movie. I mean, even Doctor Strange was an origin movie, so it'll be very interesting to see how this all plays out. If she just automatically has the powers because she's half Kree, but then that brings up the question if she has it biologically, is there other members that have the same powers of her family, and so on and so forth. But it's an interesting tweak to her origin story, I guess.
And I'm guessing there'll be a reason for it that plays out with the plot of the movie. That, and I'm also just wondering if they're tired. I mean, so many comic stories are radioactive stuff in the eyeballs, radioactive spider, that if the Kree explosion, her normal origin story felt like it fit in with too many other things. It just was a trope that they wanted to get away from.
Or they could never figure out a way to make the Psyche Magnetron incident not sound like a terrible 1960s sci-fi thing.
I cannot wait for the movie to debut, and then there's these Psyche Magnetron stands on Twitter, revolting because they didn't include it in the movie. You know what's going to happen.
They're going to slip in your DMs and just start fights.
They are.
Rhiannon, something you said reminded me of Stan Lee always said this about X-Men. They said, well, how'd you come up with the idea of mutants? And he's basically, we had bombarded everybody ever with so much radiation to make superheroes that I was just getting exhausted of coming up with stupid reasons for powers. And one day we were like, oh, it'd be so much easier if they were just born with these things. And then we were like, wait a minute, what if they were just born with these things? And the X-Men was partially birthed out of fatigue of having to come up with reasons for superheroes. So,
what's that? Isn't that kind of like the Jedi thing? What is it, midi-chlorians or whatever?
Yes,
right?
That's true. If we want to make the Star Wars fans angry as well. And Adam's I'm done with Shadowhunter fans. I want to take off the really excitable bunch now.
They'll make life exciting.
So one of the other weird things about this news is they've been talking about Jude Law and what his character is like, but they will not name who it is. I think most of us were just assuming it was going to be Marvel when Jude Law took it. I don't know, maybe that hashtag show or somebody even ran it as Marvel. I'm not sure. Any thoughts on why Marvel doesn't want to talk about this?
I don't know. It's a very good question, and we kind of had a good discussion about this earlier today. You know, I can totally see him just being almost an original character of sorts. I mean, the movie's called Captain Marvel, and Carol Danvers is Captain Marvel, and without having like a predecessor type deal, you know, it could be very, very confusing or almost corny to have a character being named Marvel. You know. So maybe it's something like that, or it's completely a spoiler of some sort. And I guess at set visits they wouldn't reveal his name or his role. And EW and their press so far has said that too. So it's kind of odd to say the least. I figured they had mentioned his role when they announced that he joined the cast with like the synopsis way back when, but apparently that's not the case. So yeah, I don't know what's going on there.
All right. Any other thoughts on Captain Marvel before we wrap that up?
No, it looks good. We saw Ronan. We're going to see, hopefully they kind of do Ronan justice, because I love that comic book character. So maybe he'll actually be good this movie. And Minerva's in there. Minerva looks like a better Gamora than Gamora looks. But that's a chat for another day, I guess.
Yeah, Samuel L. Jackson looked like young Samuel L. Jackson, which means he just looks like Samuel L. Jackson. Like, the picture that we got, like, it looked like just a little bit of makeup, and he looks exactly like he did in the 90s. The man does not age whatsoever. Yeah,
they said it was digitally de-aged. I'm like, that looks exactly like his Instagram selfie from 5 minutes ago. I mean,
along those lines, Kevin Feige recently was asked about female Marvel movies, and he said that they hope they make a whole bunch more of them, and he's excited for the day that it's not even really news that it's a female-led movie, that it's just like, oh, who's this character, instead of, hey, let's talk about this being a female character. I think that totally makes sense. I didn't prep you ahead of time. If they're planning on making more female-led movies, can you think of a character that you would want to see get their own movie in the future?
I read that particular quote just to mean like, oh, hey, we're going to actually announce Black Widow soon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of Jessica Drew.
Oh, I forgot to put this in the news. Did you see the social media post about Jessica Drew this week?
No.
Oh,
Maybe it's not really. So, Alison Brie from Community fame and who's in Glow was at the gym pumping iron with Brie Larson. And since Alison Brie and Brie Larson are buddies in real life, apparently, and Jessica Drew and Carol Danvers are buddies in the comics, like this fan... There suddenly was this wildfire of fan quote, like, Jessica Drew played by Alison Brie, Spider-Woman, let's do it now. And I thought, it's not terrible. I could go for that.
I was just going to say, I've seen much worse fan casts. On this podcast, even. Mine included.
We do worse fan casts every time we're asked to do them. All right, Rhiannon, the next thing is something that you shared earlier this week. Jeremy Tardy, I believe is his name, the actor who has been cast for that mysterious New Warriors pilot as Night Thrasher, posted himself in a backyard doing nunchucks and said, "Are you ready for this? Like, hashtag Night Thrasher or something? Does this feel like it makes New Warriors closer? Or is this just a really unemployed guy?"
Something is happening with New Warriors. I mean, when that happened, I mean, Kevin Beagle, the showrunner, has been super active about being on New Warriors. Something is happening. This came out before the New York Comic Con's schedule information. So I almost expected like a New Warriors panel or something at Comic Con, which we didn't get. But it's just weird. I just want some New Warriors news so it'll stop being so weird.
I was scrolling through Instagram and I saw him post that video, and he's standing there twirling his nunchucks, And the very first comment I see that almost made me rage quit Instagram, someone posts, "Still better than an Iron Fist fight scene."
I think that was actually me on Slack, Adam.
Was that? Did you say that?
I did.
I swore I saw it on Instagram. Maybe
it's
it was
right
Slack.
Underneath it on Slack. Caleb Borchers, better trained than Finn Jones.
Okay, yeah, I saw it somewhere on the internet, and I'm like, oh, geez, I hate the internet.
And now Adam quits our podcast because of your joke.
All I could think of was like Napoleon Dynamite jokes, like, I've got sweet Nunchuck skills. Like, Night Thrasher is going to go get us a sea bass, So, yeah, I mean, he looks like he's totally ready to play a superhero character. It's just, I don't know. He looks like he's real bored. This cast has got to be going crazy on this thing, so.
I mean, how'd that conversation go? Hey, Mom, will you go film me while I twirl my nunchucks real quick? Nunchucks.
We gotta go press for my show, so it'll be on the air somewhere.
Now imagine an SNL skit of New Warriors cast members with their parents. You need to get a job. But Mom, I have a job. I'm going to be on New Warriors. That's what you've been saying for the last 2 years. I haven't seen this on TV.
It's on Marvel,
Where's
Mom?
your Comic-Con panel?
And now we have a new character to add to the show, Jeremy Tardy's mother.
Every time it's a property, we don't think it's going to happen. Sure, Sony. I believe that you're going to make a Silk movie. Right. Speaking of not making movies, Dave Bautista is now just like... He's just like, I don't want to work for... Like, I feel like every time I see a comment from him, it's worse and worse and worse. I just... Like, at first I was kind of just kidding about Disney firing him, but I really think they could be close now. Because he just seems to be daring them to do it.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Like, maybe it's already happened. And it's just not public.
Well, did you see the news from Atlanta filming today?
No.
Which would have to be heavily disclaimed because Atlanta filming also said Thanos got his arm cut off by Nebula in Infinity War. But I mean, that's the account that posts some stills and stuff. And someone tweeted, or he said, or she said, or they said that reshoots were underway for Avengers 4 in Atlanta, which we kind of heard they were starting this fall. And then someone tweeted him, and then they responded. I guess I would call this more than reshoots, or they're not reshoots or something like that, which kind of sort of hints that it's a lot more than that. Speculation just automatically jumped, they're killing Drax.
For me, this is the least worried about reshoot movie ever, because they finished filming it about a year ago, right? So, like, they finished a movie, and then they put out the one before it, and then they got response, and then they want to tweak it. I mean, that just totally makes sense to me.
And then they bought a whole other studio, and they found out that their character list is, like, doubling, and, I mean...
It's Fantastic Four. That's why they're doing reshoots. Confirmed here on Marvel News Desk.
Let's put an asterisk there so we're not held liable. I don't know how you asterisk the podcast.
I don't know. I mean, do people really listen to this anyways?
True, good point.
Well, particularly they'll see the Iron Fist headline and they'll be like, "No,
I was
we're
gonna
not."
say you should bait everybody and make the headline on this like we found something else to talk about Infinity War, just so people show up and listen, and then they'll be really angry and they can send all their hate mail to Adam, and then he has something to do this weekend.
The title could be like Avengers 4 title revealed. Like, nah, just kidding. We're talking about Iron Fist.
You should do that. Do it in all caps, then at the very end put JK.
Talking about the reshoots for real, apparently they're adding some more Wakanda stuff and some more potential spoiler Black Panther stuff. I don't know. I feel like that makes sense. I think they probably didn't know Black Panther was going to be as huge as it was when they did the filming, and so adding more of that is not a surprise. And the idea that some of these characters will come back, like, I don't understand. I've seen this thing online where people are like, oh, it's a spoiler that they're talking about Tom Holland maybe being in this movie, or, oh, Chadwick Boseman showing up on set will spoil Avengers 4. We know that these characters are coming back. Like, no one honestly believes that Black Panther died in Infinity War and is never coming back, right? So why is this being talked about like a spoiler?
There was some people in my theater that thought Black Panther was dead, and they were angry.
That would be the most like meta move ever, just to like kill Black Panther off after just one very, very good movie.
I saw it. There were some people in the crowd that thought they had just killed T'Challa, and like, I mean, you know, people don't know. There were plenty of people that went into this that thought it could have been the very end of the Marvel Universe and thought they did kill Black Panther.
This is not huge news. Mark Kolpack, who has done a lot of special effects, I think, for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., is getting a chance. That's not a word. Is getting a chance to direct an episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which I thought was pretty cool. I mean, he's been, Adam, maybe you know, he's been on the show for a long time and done a lot of VFX stuff, or
I think most of the season. I guess I don't know for sure. But the dude's super cool. He's super interactive on Twitter. And yeah, that was just kind of weird. He just tweeted it. I'm like, whoa, that's pretty cool.
And they were filming episode 4, wasn't it? 604?
Oh, also speaking of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. news, go ahead and follow Chloe Bennett again because her and Logan Paul broke up.
We are not going to rejoice over someone losing a relationship. That would be petty and mean, small-minded of us to be happy that someone who's so awesome is no longer dating someone who's such a turd weasel. I just don't think that we should.
Didn't we talk about him getting punched in the face last week, though?
We did. I heard he was going to be cast on the Shadowhunters, so...
Danny Rand is recast as Logan Paul.
We now have reached the news story of the week that Caleb thinks is really stupid, and we're talking about it merely because of how stupid it is. There's the new toy lines for Spider-Man Far From Home that are starting to be produced, and apparently there's going to be a Molten Man figure in that line. And so this was really dumb. One site, I think it was MCU Cosmic, said, hey, this is kind of weird that they're doing a Molten Man, but sometimes they do another figure, so it's probably not real. And then other sites picked it up as confirmed. Molten Man is probably going to be in Spider-Man Homecoming. I'm really sure that Molten Man is not... Did I say Molten? Molten's a theologian.
I thought you said Mole Man. I'm like...
No, I meant Molten Man. Moltmann is a German theologian, but Molten Man is the action figure. And, I mean, we've been through this before with Darkhawk, right, Adam? Just because there's an action figure in the line does not mean they're in the movie.
Oh, it happens all the time. I mean, the Ant-Man and the Wasp line, I mean, they threw in Ant-Man and the Wasp with Cole Obsidian and Malekith, and yeah, don't pay attention to the toys, because they always... Every single wave of Legends figures, it's not even all movie stuff. They have like 3 or 4 movies figs, and then they throw in 2 or 3 totally random, not related whatsoever. So, come on, sites, do better. And y'all call yourself journalists. Psh. Not you two. I'm talking about the other people that write about this stuff.
I'm just over here coming up with a Malt Liquor Man.
Malt Liquor Man.
Zima Boy!
Fitzsimmons' grandson, Malt Liquor Man. Drinking his Zima.
The Zima Zoomer. He goes the speed of light, but only when he's looking up on Zima.
As far as the toys, I mean, they did have Colleen Wing as a Defender. But she was the least in the show.
Alright, that's all the news I have. Did I miss anything important?
The New York Comic Con schedule came out.
Yeah, so I was going to talk about that right now anyway. So, yes. What all is happening at New York Comic Con, Rhiannon, that people will hear from us about?
Oh, honestly, it's been a really busy week. I just caught the part about Daredevil and stopped reading.
So, this is the frustrating thing. At least the last I checked, they have announced that there's going to be a Daredevil panel, and Marvel has talked about it. It's not on the schedule anywhere.
They've said that it's Saturday at Madison Square Garden.
So are we sure there is a Daredevil panel? We can confirm that at least.
Well, Marvel
right?
has said that yes, there's going to be a Daredevil panel. So
Is that a Nickelback poster?
Shadowhunters.
Oh my goodness.
This is how you remind me of what I really am. Wow, if we really want to take the Shadowhunter people off, let's just conflate them like we can't tell the difference between Nickelback and Shadowhunters.
I picked up a couple of them, sold them for $5 on eBay.
I think it's fair to say...
Wow, they're worth that much?
Yeah.
Shadowhunter fans probably aren't old enough to know who Nickelback is, right? Like,
I knew a Shadowhunter fan my age. Whatever that is. I remember Zemo.
So I think what we're saying is, from New York, when we get finished, we probably aren't going to even have time to podcast at the show. So when we podcast a day or two after a New York Comic-Con, we'll talk all about Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Daredevil, and Runaways. And then there's supposed to be a Gifted panel, but I've not seen when that is either. So yeah, there's all those sorts of things happening. So,
and we're going to try to have a little meetup thing.
Absolutely. All right. That's the New York Comic-Con news. We were not as precise as we should be. All right. I want to do this real quick. Adam, do you want to give us your review of Eminem's Venom Song? Now that we have heard it.
It's dope. I mean, it's not bad. It's way too commercialized. And it's probably my least favorite part of that album. But yeah, it did exceed expectations. But yeah, like it sounds like a theme song, you know. I mean, it's our.
He's rhyming the word venom, right?
Yeah.
And he rhymes with the words like get 'em, smack 'em, hit 'em, right? And so the chorus is like venom, gonna hit 'em, smack 'em, bottom, bottom, bottom. It sounds to me like Cookie Monster eating cookies. Me so hungry for cookies. No, 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 venom, venom, no, 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 no.
Cookie,
gonna
cookie.
hit 'em, cookie, venom, venom, venom. Like,
yeah.
This was my idea for YouTube videos. I think I'm going to get the Cookie Monster and the Venom Song and just go back and forth between num, 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 venom, 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 num, num, num.
But you guys have seen all those videos of people, I mean, one, totally calling that Eminem album drop. Way to make that happen, you guys. But you've seen the videos of the people doing their Eminem impressions?
I've
seen a couple of them.
Oh, dude, MGK came back with a diss track, so yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to be him, because I would guess Eminem's going to drop something soon.
Is that what you were talking
guys
about,
saw that
Rhiannon?
No, I was just talking about like your everyday Caleb Borchers doing Eminem videos that are like, just like, singing about whatever, and it was like Cookie Monster, like doing an impression of everything in the album, because all of his stuff sounds the same.
Ooh.
Can we sample Rhiannon's beatbox and make that into our theme song? Please. Her little scat or whatever that was.
We can take my Nickelback, my Cookie Monster, and her scat.
Please. And send it to Alving, and he'll make us up a new track.
Oh, maybe we'll have to save that for the 100th episode. I already have our Never Heard Before pilot episode that I might bring a little bit of out.
Oof. That was gross.
It was bad. Alright, so talking about things that are bad, let's talk about Iron... No, I'm just kidding. We enjoyed it. Iron Fist Season 2 is officially here. You have seen Adam's review, where he calls it potentially the best MCU television show of 2018. Adam, I mean, you've been so built up about this. Let's try to do a little non-spoiler for the people who have not heard, who've seen it yet. We'll do a little non-spoiler, and then we'll also do, when we do review it, we can only review the first 6 episodes, because that's all I've seen. So, I mean, Adam could review more, but I've not seen it, so. So non-spoilers, what do you guys think?
I mean, the first glance, it's better than the first season. I mean, I think that's probably going to be unanimous. I would be very surprised if somebody says, "Oh, I like season 1 better." It's a Netflix show, man. It's a Marvel Netflix show. It still struggles kind of with the sluggish pace to start off with. The fight scenes I thought were superb. You know, there's that one right out of the gates that kind of set the tone. But overall, it's a vast improvement. You can tell there's new leadership, if you want to call it that. There's new writing staff and all that. It's completely apparent. It's almost a night and day. I mean, even the look and feels different. It's almost, I would say looks more like a Daredevil show than it does Iron Fist season 1. I'm not sure if that's something you guys would agree, but it does have a different look and feel to it. I enjoyed it. It's about as far as I can go without getting spoilery. The supporting cast is phenomenal. And of course, you know, an Iron Fist show, Iron Fist should probably be the star. But that's kind of the trend we've been seeing. Even Luke Cage 2 focused on the supporting cast a lot more this season, and that's kind of the same for Iron Fist season 2. The supporting cast is good. I'm not sure if I have a problem with any of them yet, at least in this segment of the show.
I feel like a lot like the first season, it started off slow and built up well. I've joked with some people that the first episode took about 3 days to watch. And, I felt like I was watching those first few episodes for a very long time. But then it was like, oh, I'm into this. This is good. Which I feel like the first season, I think that was the whole problem with the first season, is that they gave the press like 4 episodes or 6 episodes or something, and they were the slowest, and it just built up, to nothing. Whereas this season, I think they would have done well to have released the whole season to the press rather than just,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I want to echo that really quick. It is a travesty they did not release the whole season for review. That is all at the current moment.
I think it's interesting. One of the things people complained about was the corporate espionage, not espionage, but like the corporate intrigue junk. They've completely, like, Rand Corporation doesn't hardly exist.
Right. Right.
And, I mean, that's not to be spoiler, just that piece has been taken out, and they've replaced it with sort of street gangs, war between the crime lords, which I think is an improvement, but also feels super generic to every Marvel Netflix show ever. And so, I mean, I'm not trying to get into plot there, just to say that is the setup. Some of the setup of the show is they're living in Chinatown. They have made Chinatown to Iron Fist what Harlem is to Luke Cage, which I think is a significant change. And in that, they've switched the corporate stuff up at the top of at the top of Ward Tower, at the top of Rand Tower, to stuff that's happening on the streets of Chinatown. And that's a shift in the setting that's interesting. I'm not sure if it's that much better, but it's certainly more action-oriented than the corporate stuff. So
I do not give 2 flips about gang wars in Chinatown.
Oh, I'm so tired. It's almost to the point of the hand already. It's just exhausting.
Yeah. Like, I feel like that's what the first few episodes are, just trying to convince you to care about gang wars in Chinatown. And I'm just like, I don't care about the Russians in Hell's Kitchen. I don't care about whatever gang in Chinatown. I just feel like it's so manufactured, and some, they've got to build it up so that you have some emotional care in it, and it just, At this point, there's so many characters in this universe that we do care about. You guys realize this is the 10th season of Marvel Netflix shows. We know these characters. We care about these characters. You have enough characters there. Add in, make Davos deeper. Add in some Typhoid Mary Mary Walker to bring in something fresh. But we don't need the introduction of gang wars.
And also, I know that organized crime is kind of this way, that someone always kind of rises to fill the vacuum. But at this point, we've seen The Hand. We've seen sort of the Yakuza kind of guys in Daredevil. We saw the Russians in Daredevil. We had Owlsley and his deal. We had Kingpin and his people. We've got Mariah Dillard and Stokes and their people. And we have...
And the Italians.
The Italians and the Mexicans and the Yardies and now 3 brands of triads. Like you literally could make a list of 15 different gang groups. We had the Irish that got all shot up by the Punisher. Like, at this point, they're just going through a list of every ethnicity that exists in America, and they're like, well, let's turn that into a gang. It just feels repetitive and overdone and just too much. That's a weird thing to focus on, though. It's the only thing we talk about that's not super spoilery.
No,
though,
it's...
Yeah,
it's... You bring up a good point. I'm tired of the gang stuff already, and it's super interesting to see what... one would think Cheo's probably going to listen to this criticism, because, that's essentially where Luke Cage Season 3 is headed. That's what Luke Cage Season 3 is going to be. And although it does get better in Iron Fist as the season progresses, I'm tired of the gang stuff. And it brings back the thing, what other stuff can you do with street-level characters?
At least in Luke Cage Season 3, Luke will have the gang. He'll be the mob boss. I'm hoping Luke Cage Season 3 takes a sort of Luke's the bad guy.
Jessica Jones showed that you can bring a superpowered person into the street level stuff. Like when we watched Killgrave, nobody was like, oh, this ruins the tone of Netflix. That was a superpowered character that still felt like it fit the vibe of Daredevil. So
she's the only series that doesn't have a insert place or ethnicity here gang.
Plus, Jessica Jones also gave us the first ever MCU music video, right? What was that Trish Walker, Shake My Cray Cray or whatever that was?
Something about your
or what was that song? Yeah. Ugh.
I guess before we finish the non-spoiler part, where would you, Adam, I think you said you feel like this is the best Netflix show of this year?
It's in contention. I would say between this or Cloak and Dagger, it would be the best season on Marvel TV. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 5, I would take either Cloak and Dagger or Iron Fist Season 2 over Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But in the grand scheme of... I don't want to get into a whole ranking of shows because you guys haven't completed it yet. And my opinion changes drastically, by the way. But yeah, I would say...
Does it change up or does it change down?
Oh, up a lot.
Okay.
A lot.
All right.
Probably too much, but a lot. You guys will think too much. But I don't know. You haven't seen it yet. But it's very good.
For me, that's there's opportunity here. If I had to rank the shows for this year, I'll leave S.H.I.E.L.D. out of it because S.H.I.E.L.D. was kind of half this year, half last. I think Cloak and Dagger's been my favorite. Luke Cage 2 is next, and right now Iron Fist 2 is below Luke. But but it's close enough that if it's a great last 4 episodes, I think it could be. I could like it better than that, and I definitely think it's much better than Jessica Jones Season 2 because as more time goes on, I just really didn't like that. So.
Okay, so are we talking about the first 6 episodes here, or are we talking about the whole season?
Well, you can talk about the whole... I can only talk about the first 6. But...
Okay, if we're including the whole season, Iron Fist 2 is by and large the best season of Marvel television this year.
Okay, that's big.
No questions asked. no questions asked. Though the last 3 episodes are
okay. We're gonna mute Adam now.
I'm just saying, I'm so excited. I'm still so excited. I didn't sleep last night after watching them, and I've just been chomping at the bit to talk to someone about it. And you guys aren't doing it, so I have to talk to somebody. So you might as well just mute me so I can go on a monologue now.
I logged into the press site. It's just that there were distractions.
Yeah. No, but if judging by the whole season, and this is me being as objective as I can. Yes, Iron Fist is one of my favorite comic book characters, but it has a very, 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 very strong ending. Almost too strong that they could have spread out earlier. But I have 0 issues with episodes 8, 9, and 10. Danny's great. Danny is very good. I'm good. Y'all are gonna be surprised. Danny's the dude now. But yeah, whole season I would say Iron Fist is the best show we've seen so far this year. It might be the best we get this year.
Based on the 6 that you've seen, Rhiannon, how are you feeling the show shapes up overall?
I mean, from the 6 that I've seen, I would probably put Luke Cage above it. And I really liked S.H.I.E.L.D. season 5. I mean, I'm telling you, those first 4 episodes took a lot of effort to get through. And I'm just arbitrarily saying 4. Yeah, of Iron Fist. I'm arbitrarily saying 4 episodes because, like, when I'm binging, I forget where I am. But, I mean, we'll see. I mean, I'm not saying I dislike it. I'm just saying it's not out there at the top for me right now.
All right, let's go ahead and do spoilers. So, for the 6 episodes that we've all seen, what else? I want to talk... I think first about Typhoid Mary. So, Rhiannon, this is a character that you really care about and have some history with. How have you felt about Mary thus far?
I think they gave her a very fresh... we're in our 10th season of the Marvel shows. I always envisioned that I wanted... I have how I wanted to see Typhoid Mary. And I loved the idea of the sweet, innocent version of Mary being in a relationship. Like, in the comics, she's in a relationship with Matt Murdock. Before you find out that she's got the other ego. Or the other personality. And that just added such level to it. So having her, I mean, I did like that, we sort of met her as the sweet version, I think. Or at least, Danny met her as the sweet version. And I think very odd that they ended up moving forward, that like Danny wanted, they got it to a point where Danny needed the not sweet version, needed the psycho or the killer, or I mean not psycho, but the killer version. Was very interesting. I didn't like that they revealed her DID through just, Joy, oh, here, look, your diagnosis, because, everybody that has a psychological issue has their diagnosis sitting around. That just seemed very... Okay, it's out there. Yeah, I mean, but I think they could have more creatively brought that about. But I think it also was I think it was the 2018 way of revealing it. Let's have a appropriate, let's call it DID and not multiple personality disorder. Let's get it out there and have a very respectful talk about this disorder, and made it very real. But yeah, so I like the twists so far, and Alice Eve is amazing.
Yeah, I think I said in our conversations, it's really, I find this to be really interesting and difficult, and I think this is going to come up again in the future at some point. we've gotten to this place where we want to be really cautious about mental illness, and that in these shows, mental illness is talked about in a way that's respectful and doesn't overly stigmatize and doesn't, just say, like, basically, if you have a mental illness, you're a supervillain, and I appreciate where all that comes from, and I think those are, like, good, socially conscious things to do. I feel like it makes the character less unpredictable and dangerous than what I think about as the comic counterpart. Like, because they won't go over the top with things, I don't feel like she's at any point going to just, like, I wanted, like, a Heath Ledger joke. I mean, and that's not a fair expectation, but, like, I love how, like, Heath Ledger's Joker, every second he's on screen, you feel nervous. And I never got any of that out of Mary, because her most dangerous persona is the one who's more in control. Which, I don't know.
Yeah. That's what... Her more dangerous persona is the one that Danny's trying to get her to bring out. That's the one that, like... And I mean, in the comics, her dangerous persona is the one that set Matt Murdock's hair on fire.
Right.
It just... I don't know. But I like it. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not Typhoid Mary. Like, when you have too much time to think about how you want certain things to be, bullseye. There's a real chance that it could be great, and it's not what you're wanting to see. It is great. Like, outside of those expectations. I think she's fantastic.
Adam can't even say anything.
No, I know.
No.
I don't want Adam to say anything.
No, it's at the end of the first 6 episodes, I was not sold on Mary. That's no ill will towards Alice Eve. She's fantastic in the role. It's just at the end of the 6 episodes, I think I expected more, and it just kind of hits or misses the mark, I should say. And like Rhiannon said earlier, they ended the screeners in such a bizarre area, and right as one was going to form an opinion on Mary Walker, it ends, and you're like, oh, really? Yeah, they totally should have released all 10 at once. It definitely would have got them much better reviews. But, in terms of Mary Walker, I guess maybe a little disappointed. I guess it's just not up to expectations through the first 6 episodes.
All right, I feel like we should not go another second without talking about Colleen and Misty. The Daughters of the Dragon stuff is so stinking good.
So good. Very good. It's almost I don't want to call it a proof of concept, but it almost feels like a backdoor pilot. It's just so good. Every second they're together on screen is amazing. Jessica Henwick and Simone Missick are amazing in the roles, and they just play off each other so well. It's fantastic. And that fight, can we talk about that fight? Oh man, that's in the first 6 episodes, right?
The tattoo parlor fight?
Yeah.
Yes.
That was insane. That was so good. That's all I wanted to talk about that. It was just very, very good.
I also love the snacks. Like, listen, Colleen, if you're going to buy me snacks, you better get this right. None of, clearly, like, that's just that whole little, like, comedy bit about Misty being frustrated with Colleen's ability to pick up the right snacks at the gas station. That's the kind of thing that a buddy cop show should have. And it's why Daughters of the Dragon would be so good with the two of them.
I mean, if we're going to have a bunch of gangs, I like the tattoo parlor gang of girls. They were awesome.
We're missing the point here. It was from which famous comic run by which amazing writers and which amazing artists? Just saying.
Yeah, it was the Immortal Iron Fist stuff from Fraction.
It was Fraction and Brubaker. In the comics, they're Crane daughters, but they get into that mysticism, man. And that's what Iron Fist should be. It should be getting into kind of teetering that edge of Doctor Strange stuff, but keeping it street level at the same time. I picture, instead of going full magician, but the Crane Sister stuff, like I said, I mean, you could tell Raven Metzner and his writing staff are comic book fans, and that's apparent throughout, but that Crane Sister stuff's pretty rad.
It's funny, thinking about that run, I would love... They should do another season of Iron Fist, take it back out to 13 episodes, but only 7 of them are about Danny. And in between them, like episode 1 is about Danny, and then episode 2 is a flashback to a previous Iron Fist. And you just get a different director, different style, do it totally crazy, and then you go back to Danny and somehow it interacts with that episode. And then episode 4, you do another historic Iron Fist. So you get like a 6-episode anthology series interspliced between a 7-episode Danny series.
Okay. I mean, maybe you should just watch the rest of the 3 episodes, because you kind of have a pretty solid theory.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Very well become reality.
Watch now.
I'm just saying. Just watch it. And,
Oh.
That's why I'm so GD excited. I'm going to break something.
You know what's going to happen now? I'm not even sure what that means, but some guy is going to be like, you said you wouldn't spoil episode 8, and then you spoiled episode... I'm like, it just happened. It was just dumb luck. Don't be mad at me.
Kayla, you're pretty good at those theories. You had a good one in Slack. You didn't bring up the one in Slack today, how Jude Law's Yanrog. That was very solid.
Oh, yeah, that's my other... I did forget that. I do have this theory that we're going to find out... The way I see it, Carol's dad was Marvell, and Jude Law is Jan Rog, and he killed her dad, and that will be found out at the end, and he'll be the big villain of the movie. So, kind of like a Mordo thing. Or no, like a Ego, the Living Planet kind of thing.
I have a theory that Netflix completely forgot that Iron Fist is coming out this week, and nobody's going to push the button at 3 a.m. to make it go live. I mean, because, like, I have seen, like, usually, I mean, for Jessica Jones, for Luke Cage, there were, posters up in the subways in New York. Like, there's usually some advertising out there. I feel like, even the Iron Fist account, I feel like hasn't posted much on Twitter. I feel like they're doing all of the advertisements. There was no premiere party. There was no press event. And I know Luke Cage they didn't, but they did that Luke Cage thing.
Correction, I had a premiere party at my house, so...
It was
just me, but it was still a party. So
I was about to say, is that why we have to wrap up in like
still
15
a party.
minutes? Or?
I did want to ask about, there's a dinner party episode. Yes! I forget if it's party 3 or 4, where it's...
that was touching on...
Go ahead.
I feel like they domesticated Colleen so much in those early episodes. Like, put her in frumpy sweaters, and like she and Danny are playing house. And they're gonna...
Her dojo has become a living room.
With a really nice open floor plan with a kitchen. I mean, Danny put the money into that interior decorating. But yeah, her dojo became a living room.
And Danny's like pseudo Batman with his computer set up in the corner.
Yeah. Well, he is trying to cover for Matt Murdock. And
Oh, go ahead.
He's trying to cover for Matt Murdock, and he can't, hear for 5 blocks. So, he needs computer screens.
The biggest nitpick I had through the first 6 episodes was the fact that Danny Rand was grilling meatballs.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? You can't even make meatballs?
That's how they do it in Kunlun, man.
Oh, come on, give me a break. Like, who the hell? It was like a campfire thing, and he's grilling meatballs, and I think Ward even says something like, what the hell are you doing, man?
No, that was Davos.
Was it Davos?
Yeah, it was like Davos up there, like, this is how you cook that? And I'm like, you two grew
no,
up
it's
together.
Not.
And
that
you
became
became a vegetarian, and he became somebody that grills meatballs. Like, And that was, like, I wondered, like, I mean, because they stuck to that really, like, Davos does not eat meat, does not, but, like, Danny definitely eats meat. He wanted his shrimp fried rice in the Defenders.
I just thought that was an odd episode. Like, I kind of got what they were going for, but I don't know. Like, it just seemed very weird to me to spend that much time on, like, a dinner party gone wrong. It just, I don't know. I was just, the whole time I was watching, it's like, this is an odd choice. You know, like, I was not a big fan of it.
I mean, it does make sense in a way. I mean, still at that point in the season, really the bad guys, the bad people are really the gangs. You know, obviously we know about Joy and Davos's plot by this point, but nobody else but them knows about that, you know? So, I mean, I get it. It's just it was peculiar. It kind of did create a little tension, you know, because we're like, oh, wow, they want to kill Danny, except now they're eating spaghetti and grilled meatballs.
I'll tell you, it was like office tension, though. You know, like, it was just like that, like, uncomfortability tension, you know?
Yeah, what kind of tension? Like the tension after Michael Scott tells a really bad joke, or like when Roy barges into the office tension?
I was thinking more like, Secret Santa, you're only supposed to spend $20,
okay. Yeah.
and he buys an iPod, and they're like, oh, that's way over the limit. You know, like, clearly this is not
okay. So you're going balls to the wall. You're thinking like Scott's Tot type tension.
Adam, we have not talked about our favorite character in the show.
Yeah, let's talk about him. In our show, in the universe.
Ward Meacham is such a national treasure. I just do not even know how to talk about how much I love Ward Meacham.
And that's the thing. I keep stressing how good Ward is, and I think people think I'm trying to be like ironic or something, but I legitimately enjoy who he is, how that character is. I mean, there's so much. Pelfrey does such a good job. I mean, he cracks jokes, and then the next scene he's a recovering addict, and he just has an incredible range, and I love it. I love it. After this season, Ward is legit one of my favorite MCU characters. No questions asked.
Oh, we're adding that to the that little soundbite right there. Like, taking down the timestamp and adding that to our sizzle reel.
Do it. Add it to the sizzle reel, man. I mean, I love the dude. It's just, I mean, quite frankly, he's probably the character I almost relate to most. Not in the sense of being a recovering like meth addict, heroin addict, but in the sense that he's kind of, I mean, I think he's almost the most real person there. He has the best writing, you know, like when Danny gives away whatever in episode 1, I would have reacted exactly like Ward. I would have been like, what the hell are you doing? You know, his reactions are always gold, and I think I react to them best or identify with them best.
He's still, I mean, I love the character. I love Pelfrey. I after watching these, sat in a meeting and gave 2 middle fingers to people. But my boss did at the same time. No, it was in a work meeting, and my boss did at the same time, and it was just like, where did you get that idea? But something about his delivery, there's something about his speech patterns and delivery that always feel off to me, that it's just kind of like, wow, you're saying the words, but I don't love them. But there's something about his character and the words they put in his mouth and his journey and everything else about it that I still love him.
Did you read his AMA on Reddit? That's not his real voice, I guess. I've never listened to an interview with him or anything to see what his quote-unquote real voice is, but he had a teacher once, or professor when he was in school, saying that his voice wasn't menacing enough or wasn't the right voice, so he learned to talk deeper or whatever, I guess. I probably butchered that, but in a sense, short story, that's not his real voice. Fun fact.
So here's the thing I love about Ward. We, for a variety of reasons, I think culturally, tend to talk about people who care about other people, or like are heroes or want to save other people, as being kind of kind and empathetic, and like we kind of like we hold up like these Mother Teresa Gandhi type people, right? That are like very meek and mild and care about others. But there is a version of person that cares for other people by doing the dirty work for them and like being the a-hole so that nobody else has to be. And that is Ward, and I get that. Like his thing where he's like, when he says like, I don't want to, he uses the phrase, I lead with a-hole. I know it's a problem. But when you look at it, he has always been altruistic, I think, in almost everything he's done. Like, all the stuff with his dad, he did so Joy didn't have to deal with his dad. And even when he was trying to kill Danny, he was trying to protect Joy and his dad and do the stuff that, you know, like, had to be done to keep them safe. And now, in this season, like, he's trying to protect Danny from stuff. And that scene where he talks about how Harold would beat him, and that's why he didn't let Joy get near him. And he's like, I treated you like crap because I didn't want him to be able to do it to you, and so, like, I just did what had to be done to protect you. That's not great, and there's some arrogance there, and I get why Joy doesn't like it, but I appreciate, like, I love that persona. That idea of like, I'm going to be the jerk in the room that does the crap jobs that nobody else wants to do because I have the stomach for it and I can save other people from it. I totally get that, like, approach to life. Even like in parenting, like I like to be the mean parent so that my wife doesn't have to be, right. You know? And so like that idea of like, I'm willing to be the jerk so that someone I love doesn't have to be, I think is like such a nuanced, incredible character. And I just love Tom Pelphrey so much. Like, I think it's so good.
He is the Ward we deserve. Or the Ward we need.
We just need Brett Dalton and Tom Pelphrey to get in the same room.
Oh.
I mean, it would just...
We want to have a spicy 100th
so
episode.
Cool.
I mean, I might work on that full-time over the next 2 months. Oh...
I should say that Pelphrey and Metzner are both great on social media. I think Pelphrey's liked my tweets a couple times, and Metzner liked mine this week. So
we're hoping to get one of them on, but, you know, live.
We don't have lives.
And that's the point. That's why we can't get... That's why RDJ hasn't been on the podcast, because we don't have lives. We need a live. Someone go out and get some friends or something. I mean, at the end of the day, I said it earlier, but I mean, it's at the end of these 6 episodes, the supporting cast shines much better than Danny. But I mean, that's not stopping Danny. I would say, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I would compare season 2 Danny and Iron Fist as much closer to Luke Cage Danny than Iron Fist 1 Danny. Would you say? I mean, I'm not. I mean, he still has the faults, and he still makes some really stupid decisions. Case in point, he grills meatballs. But I just think he's not near... Right now, he's not as good as he was in Luke Cage Season 2.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing that did bother me... In Luke Cage Season 2, he comes in and he kind of has a little bit of the Zen thing going on, right? Where they go up above the city at, you know, the university or whatever. He's like, Luke, just like sit up above the city, stay above the fray, clear your mind, get into the flow, right? Like all that stuff. But then we pick up in episode 1 of Iron Fist, and he's so in the fray and not above it that he's like going down to the subway and beating the tar out of walls because he has this repressed anger that he doesn't know how to deal with. To me, that was a little whiplash.
Yeah, true.
Like, is this guy a Zen guy that's above it or not?
But then I chalked it up to, I mean, in Luke Cage, we only saw a fraction of Danny's day, you know? And that's totally understandable. I mean, I'll go post a motivational image on Instagram and then turn around and just be a slob the rest of the day or something. You know, we just saw a fraction of Danny's day in Luke Cage 2. Plus, he gets better.
All right, shut up so I can go watch it.
Now,
the more you talk is less time I spend watching
you
it.
Probably won't watch them all
that's
tonight.
true.
You don't work tomorrow. You can watch
Well,
them all.
I'll watch. I don't have to work tomorrow. I can watch
I
whatever
took the day
want.
off tomorrow, but I already watched it all. So now I don't know what I'm going to do. Probably should start moving.
I was going to go give blood, but instead I might watch this TV show. So see what you did, Adam?
Be careful.
You killed children who need blood transfusions, Adam.
Hey.
That's what you've done.
Okay, maybe. I was thinking about that last night. I'm super afraid to give blood now because now I think someone's going to exhume a former Iron Fist body and steal all my powers. Let's talk about that for a little bit. I mean, that was pretty dope, right? Or nah, you guys didn't like it? Did you? No, the whole
the dead
ritual
body?
thing.
I didn't.
That how Davos got his powers.
I probably need to rewatch that.
Well, Davos gets powers. In case you forgot.
I know Davos got powers. He could do two fists. He could double fist.
Yeah, I just liked the feel of the scene. I thought the mystical, dark, the tattoo artists. I'm almost sure that there's going to be people that fuss about it wasn't explained to us. Like, do you guys remember when Daredevil Season 2 came out and everyone's like, but how does the blood sarcophagus work? And what's the deal with the kid's blood? And how does the resurrection magic, how does it function? And I'm like, did you want him to, read a biology book from, Ninja University or something? We don't need to know all the details of that crap. And so it's the same way to this with me. They're like, oh.
We needed a little more details. We needed some details.
Really? On Daredevil or
Just
this?
a little.
Or both?
On Daredevil.
I don't know. It's magic, man. They pump the blood with stuff, and then they get magic sarcophagus, and they bring people back. And you can only kill them with a blade. What was that? I don't even remember Defenders. Anyways, I'm just saying, I think... I thought we got plenty for Iron Fist ceremony, and I think people will say, well, but how exactly does that work, and why does it work, and why do they have to use the certain tattoo needles? And I just don't think that's the point. All right. That effectively killed conversation. Do you guys have anything else you wanted to talk about with Iron Fist?
It is most definitely better than the first season. It's on par with the vast majority of Netflix shows so far. So, I mean, I don't want to see these tweets, man. I don't want to see I'm not going to watch Iron Fist Season 2, blah, 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 blah. Because, one, you should, and two, I don't know where my train of thought was going there. But just watch it. I mean, I don't feel like I lost time watching it. I enjoyed it a lot as it progressed.
We have become very anti-negativity, too, at Marvel News Desk. If you feel like you posted something on one of our social media channels, we're like, oh, Iron Fist sucks. Did they fix the show by not making it? We might have deleted your comment because we think you're a jerk. So,
only we can be negative
you didn't
on
like
our
it,
pages.
but
you can't be negative on our pages, just us. Right? Is that our policy? I haven't read our new social media policy.
I don't know if we have one. I think what it is if Rhiannon's having a bad day and she comes home and she feels like someone's being a jackass on Facebook, she's just going to ghost their comment. That's just all there is to it.
If one person is being not positive, whatever. I mean, let's have discussions. But there is something about Iron Fist that brings out the worst in people.
Oh, so much.
I mean, when I went to San Diego, I posted something on Tumblr, because I do that, about that I was going to be at the Iron Fist panel. And somebody was like, are you going to be there to, I don't remember what it was. Are you going to be there to boo him? And I'm like, why would I go through all that effort to spread negativity? And so, if one person is like, oh, I can't believe you liked that show or whatever, yeah, that's an opinion. But when 5 other people jump on and are like, yeah, it's trash and you're trash and da-da-da. Yeah, you're going to get banned, muted, whatever on our page.
I think somebody called someone the Jerk Factory called or something, and I'm like, really, guys?
Yeah.
Is this what we're going to do?
Yeah, I mean, like, when it's...
Yes.
If you... That is our social media rule. I'm making it right now. If you bash anybody for liking something else, then go bleep yourself, okay?
We should note that we do allow some bashing, right? Or does Grant Ward also fall under that?
No, Grant Ward, you can...
So we can bash Grant Ward.
We can bash Grant Ward,
You can bash Grant Ward, Shadowhunters, and...
No, but that's the thing. You can bash a character. You can't bash people for liking a character.
Yeah.
And also, just don't start fights.
Yeah.
Like, even if you want to put, I don't like it, and someone else is like, well, I do. Okay. But then when you're, like, going back and forth and, like, getting into peeing contests about, whatever, guys. That's the beginning of the mailbag segment, which is we'll ghost you if we don't like what you put on, because we're just trying to make the universe a more positive place. In the mailbag as well, a couple comments on the website. Love Waffle, I think, has we were talking about X-Men last week. He's putting his bets down that the first X-Men movie will not feature Wolverine or Magneto, but it will be the post-credit scene, right? So they'll hold off on one of those two characters and then bring it back in the post-credit. I think that makes sense. Lambert on the website. One thing to keep in mind regarding the Guardians of the Galaxy delay is the new Guardians roller coaster at Walt Disney World is well underway and slated to open for Walt Disney's 50th anniversary in 2021. So they'll have to get at least some of the cast together to record something for that. Back in May, the park reported the ride would be an epic storyline being developed by Walt Disney Imagineering in close collaboration with the original filmmakers. It's possible to know how much Gunn has... it's not possible to know how much Gunn has already contributed, but he's been pretty integral to the ride in Disneyland. It's going to be one of the largest indoor roller coasters in the world, which means it's pretty massive as far as their investment. I don't think Disney makes any of these decisions based on roller coasters. I just don't think that's the case. Like, they are working on stuff on Disneyland, and I know they're making the Guardians ride at Epcot, but...
Yeah, wouldn't they have filmed that stuff like during movies, if anything, if they actually used the same actors and stuff?
They do bring guys in. I don't know if you guys remember, when we first started writing at MCU Exchange, you and me, Adam, there was a day where Benicio del Toro showed up at a soundstage, and everyone's like, oh, that confirms he's in Guardians 2. And it turns out he was just filming stuff for the theme park ride. So, I think they'll bring people... I think it's safe to say Dave Bautista will probably not be the star of the roller coaster, but...
He's getting demoted to theme park attractions only.
They're like, Dave, you can keep the job, but you're going to have to dress up as Drax and sign 3 months of fan appearances, signing autographs. Right next to Pluto... Drax the Destroyer. That's the way you're going to do your penance.
That is the most coveted job at the theme parks. At the Disney theme parks.
Is the animals?
Yeah, being dressed up like any of the characters.
That doesn't sound fun. Isn't that hot and sweaty, and don't mosquitoes get in your costume and stuff?
They're only in costume like half of the time. They have handlers, and like they only spend about half the time out there in costume, and then they spend the other time like cooling off, and then they go out there. I mean, I'm not joking. It's seriously
right.
like it's the highest paying job. It's what everybody at Disney parks aspires.
They treat them like freaking prima donnas. Because I once had a crying toddler who didn't get Sleeping Beauty's signature. And why didn't she get Sleeping Beauty's signature? Because she's apparently union and had to go on her smoke break, even though there was a crying little girl who wanted her signature.
Wow, Daddy Caleb.
You are the mean dad. Good Lord.
Wow.
That's all I got for the mailbag. I don't know, did you guys have anything else from like Twitter or something?
Yeah, go make sure nobody's on your lawn, dude.
Oh, somebody was playing music really loud, and I thought, I can't record a podcast with this loud of music, and then it started raining, thank God. So, anyway.
Oh, there was a woman on the train this morning, I tweeted about it, that was like trying to find transit cops because somebody was playing music and she couldn't read her book. And when I say train, like, you guys, it's not a train. I'm talking New York City, downtown Manhattan subway. And she's all upset because this man was playing music.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like the good reading environment the way it is.
I'm amazed how people zone out, though. People put in headphones and like they act like the world's not there. It's amazing. Rhiannon, are you? Do you put headphones in when you go on the subway?
I really don't. I try, but I don't. Like, I just...
New York's probably not a place where you like wave to people. Is that assessment correct?
I mean, if I want to, I'm gonna wave at somebody. I'm gonna do what I want.
Cause like when I'm driving down like the road in front of my house, I'll like have my hand on the steering wheel and give them, the finger, not the finger, but like the high finger, and just wave to people. Yeah, hey, how's it going?
Yeah,
that's kind of like in Iowa. It just doesn't.
It's not the same up here, man.
Yeah, it seemed like
at least in my neighborhood, I try to make eye contact and smile at people just because I figure it's less likely to get shot that way. Like you don't want to shoot someone who's smiling at you. And
well, unless it's creepy. I mean, is
no,
your
it's not
creepy?
Smile. It's just like, hey, how's it going? But a lot of people are like, what's wrong with? Like they look at me like there's something wrong with me for smiling. And I did once run into a woman, and I was like, hey, and I just kind of nodded. She's like, well, how are you doing? And I was like, whoa, you are not from here, are you? And she's like, no, I'm from Texas. Why? How'd you know? And I'm like, you're speaking to me. No one speaks to anyone here. I have a friend that thinks that it's just because it's so cold. It's so cold that there's no time for pleasantries. So we stopped being friendly because we want to get back inside before we freeze to death.
I mean, I do have moments where I get on the subway and like like when it's really super crowded and like everybody's getting on there and it's just like it's hard not to make eye contact and like why shouldn't we be talking to each other? And I'll just like try to start conversation or something. And like it is like this immediate ice cold, like, oh, I'm sorry, we're not supposed to like, but then every now and then I will, and the other person will be like, oh, thank you, that's nice, and I'm like, oh.
So that's been cultural differences in regional parts of the United States. Next week we'll talk about pop or Coke. Which word do you use? All right.
Oh,
soda.
You don't call it Coke, do you?
Soda.
It's soda up here.
Yeah, I call it soda. Okay. I call it soda. No one else calls it soda.
I grew up calling it pop, though, so.
I say soda, and I say it with a Minnesota accent. So.
Ooh, that's my favorite.
Oh, don't you know? We're going to get some soda.
Yeah.
Let's go down to the bar, and we'll get some soda, and it'll just be lots of fun.
Wow, Caleb's Minnesota accent is awful.
It's awful. I thought it was pretty good. It was pretty accurate.
Oh, I'll take your word over mine.
I adopted
I've never
that
been
for
to
a little
Minnesota.
bit. It's just it's so easy. Like
my experience is mostly Yoopers more than people from Minnesota.
Oh yeah.
Slowly, kind of like at least this sounds bad, but I almost started like talking like that to like mock my friends and stuff. But then it actually became like a thing.
That's
and
how
I kept saying "oofda" and "don't you know?"
Oh yeah.
I'm like, oh, gross.
Did you ever watch Bobby's World?
That's how I got a
It was like a cartoon.
No.
The mom in Bobby's World had a thick. She's like, "Oh, Bobby, come on now. You just got to be careful with what you're doing out there, Bobby. You can't just be running into the street. It's not safe, Bobby."
I remember that.
I mean, if you watch Fargo, that's those accents.
I love the Fargo accents.
If you listen to the pod, I'm sure you can hear words like mom and box and like there's no O. It's a complete A vowel for me. Mom, box, hockey. Like that's still my Michigan coming through.
Okay, how do you say car keys?
Car keys?
Okay, so you don't say like car keys.
He's not a masshole.
Like khakis.
No. I'm not from Boston. I'm a Michigander, so I've not picked up this.
Yeah.
Oh, gross. Well, we've never talked about this yet. You're a Big Ten boy, too. We've never kind of discussed the Michigan-Iowa side. I mean, Iowa's clearly the better school and everything, but...
I did miss some of that question, but Michigan is certainly the better school in everything than Iowa.
No way. No way. Okay.
But yeah.
All right, let's go.
We're both Midwest guys. All right, well, we've tried to make it so Rhiannon can't watch any Iron Fist.
I know.
So
like,
I hope you guys had a... I'm kind of like, why don't we finish this? But it's my job to finish it. So thank you for listening to the podcast. You can interact with us a lot of ways. Send us messages on Twitter at Marvel News Desk. Also communicate with us via our MarvelNewsDesk.com posts each week, as well as the YouTube videos now, though I didn't check those this week. If you want to support the show, give us $1 a month over at patreon.com/MarvelNewsDesk. You'll get access to our special MCU film ranking episode, which is available only to Patreon supporters, as well as early access to a lot of our videos. I think we've got a gifted video coming up here in a week or two. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/MarvelNewsDesk, or subscribe to our YouTube channel at watch.marvelnewsdesk.com. You can help the show be more visible to others if you want to leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. The number one most important thing you do every week, however, is you listen and you tell your friends, and we're very thankful for that. Thank you to Tim Cox for our logo. You can find him on Instagram at TimVCox. Also, thank you to Alvin for our theme music. You can find him on at the Skull School at a variety of social media platforms. And that was all real time. I did not speed that up in editing whatsoever. So, hope you guys have a good week, and we'll talk to you guys later.
Just like just like just like
Remind me of what